They said Christmas was canceled. Too expensive, keeping it low-key this year. I ate takeout alone. That night, my sister went live. 50-plus people, catered food, professional bartender, even a DJ. Everyone was there. Except me. I stayed quiet. Until Dad texted, "Can you help with January mortgage? Need $4,100 by the 30th." I replied, "Lose my number. I don't fund liars." Then blocked him and shut down every payment. Hey Reddit, long-time lurker, first-time poster. This happened over the past year, and I'm finally ready to share the whole story. Buckle up because this is wild. Some background about me. I 31 male, and I work in medical device sales, making around $170,000 annually. I've been in sales for about 8 years now, started right out of college, and worked my way up through 3 different companies. I live in a decent 2-bedroom apartment in the city, drive a reliable Honda Accord, and I've always been the successful one in my family. Not trying to brag, just setting the context because the money situation is crucial to this story. My family consists of my parents, Mike and Linda, both 58, and my sister Jessica, 29 female. My parents run a small landscaping business called Green Dreams Landscaping that barely breaks even most months. They started it about 15 years ago when Dad got laid off from his factory job, and it's been a constant struggle ever since. Mom helps with the books and customer service while working part-time at the local library for health insurance benefits. And Jessica? Well, she's been trying to become a social media influencer for the past few years with extremely limited success. We're talking about someone with maybe 1,200 Instagram followers who genuinely believes she's going to make it big as a lifestyle blogger. She dropped out of community college after 1 semester to focus on her brand and has been bouncing between part-time retail jobs ever since, usually quitting after a few months because the work doesn't align with her personal values. Now here's where my buddy Tony comes into the picture. Tony works with me in medical device sales, and he's this straight-talking guy from Chicago who has zero patience for nonsense. He's about 6 feet 2 inches, always wears perfectly pressed shirts, and has this way of cutting through people's garbage with surgical precision. He's been telling me for years that my family takes advantage of me, but I always brushed it off because family is family, right? Wrong. So very wrong. Tony grew up in a tough neighborhood where people would take advantage of your kindness if you let them. His grandmother raised him after his parents died in a car accident when he was 12, and she taught him early that love and money are 2 different things. Family that only calls when they need something isn't really family, he'd always say. But I thought he was just cynical because of his rough upbringing. I should have listened to him years ago. For the past 6 years, ever since I started making decent money, my family has treated me like their personal bank account. It started small, helping with a car repair here, covering part of rent there, but it escalated quickly, and looking back, I can see how they systematically trained me to be their financial safety net. Jessica was absolutely the worst offender. This girl has never held a steady job in her life, but somehow always needs money for her brand building. We're talking about someone with maybe 1,200 Instagram followers who calls herself an entrepreneur and has business cards made that say, lifestyle content creator. She'd hit me up for everything from new camera equipment to designer clothes for her photos. The requests became a regular thing, usually following the same pattern. Hey, big brother, can you help with my car payment? Just this once, I promise. $480. Emergency room visit, insurance didn't cover everything and I'm panicking. $750. Rent's due tomorrow and I'm short. Landlord is threatening eviction. $900. Need new equipment for content creation. This could be my big break. $1,200. Transmission died. Mechanic says it'll cost this much to fix. $1,400. And I paid. Every single time. Because that's what family does, right? That's what I told myself anyway. The thing is, Jessica had this way of making every request sound like a life or death emergency. She'd call crying about how stressed she was, how she couldn't sleep, how this one thing was keeping her from succeeding. She'd promise to pay me back as soon as her next sponsored post came through, or when her YouTube channel gets monetized. Of course, those things never happened because her content was honestly pretty terrible, but I kept believing her because I wanted to support my little sister's dreams. My parents weren't much better, though they were more subtle about it. Dad would text me things like, "Business is slow this month. Can you help with the mortgage? We're really struggling here." Mom would call crying about unexpected expenses. The water heater died. The truck needed new tires. They got hit with a surprise tax bill. I'd transfer money without even questioning it, because I thought I was helping my family stay afloat during tough times. Tony would watch me send these payments and shake his head. Man, you're not helping them. You're enabling them. When's the last time any of them called just to see how you're doing? Not asking for money, just checking in to see if you're happy, if you're dating anyone, if you need anything? I couldn't remember. Every conversation with my family eventually led to some financial request, usually within the first 10 minutes. Here's the pattern that developed over the years. Jessica would post about wanting something expensive on social media for weeks. Designer bags, professional camera equipment, vacation destinations, expensive makeup products, workout gear, you name it. She'd create these elaborate wish lists and mood boards, posting constantly about how these items would elevate her content and take her brand to the next level. Then suddenly she'd have an emergency that cost exactly what those items were worth. I'd send the money thinking I was helping with legitimate car trouble or medical bills, then see her posting pictures with her new purchases a few days later. When I'd ask about it, she'd have some explanation. She got a good deal on the bag after her emergency was resolved. Someone gave her the equipment. She found it at a thrift store, whatever. But I always gave her the benefit of the doubt. Maybe she was telling the truth. Maybe I was being paranoid. Maybe Tony's cynical attitude was rubbing off on me. I was willfully blind to what was really happening because I wanted to believe my sister wasn't lying to me. The pattern got so predictable that Tony started making jokes about it. Let me guess. Jessica's about to have a car emergency for exactly the cost of those designer shoes she's been posting about. And he'd be right, almost every time. Looking back, I realized they had me completely trained. Jessica would manufacture crises, I'd send money, she'd buy what she actually wanted, and then they'd all act grateful for about 5 minutes before the cycle started again. I was like a Pavlovian response. They'd ring the emergency bell, and I'd send money. The real kicker was last Christmas. I went all out, spending nearly $3,000 on gifts for everyone because I just closed a huge deal and was feeling generous. Got Dad this professional-grade chainsaw he'd been wanting for the business, $850. Bought Mom a high-end KitchenAid stand mixer she'd mentioned repeatedly, $450. And for Jessica, I actually bought her these designer shoes she'd been posting about constantly. Louboutin red-bottom heels that cost me $1,100. Tony thought I was absolutely insane. You're buying $1,000 shoes for someone who's never said thank you in her life. She probably won't even wear them to any real events. Just post pictures for her Instagram, then put them in her closet. But I felt good about being generous. I was successful, I could afford it, and I wanted my family to know I cared about them. I imagined Jessica actually being grateful for once, maybe even posting something nice about having a supportive brother who believed in her dreams. That generosity was about to bite me harder than I could have ever imagined. December 18th, I'm wrapping up the biggest sale of my career at work, this massive order from a hospital network that was going to net me a commission of about $25,000 when I get a message in our family group chat. Mom, hi everyone. Change of plans for Christmas. We're keeping it small this year, just immediate family. Hope you understand. I read that message 3 times, and it didn't make sense. Immediate family? What did that even mean? We always just did immediate family for Christmas anyway. It was literally just the 4 of us, plus maybe my cousin Derek and his wife, and occasionally my aunt and uncle if they were in town. Something felt off immediately. The wording was weird, and Mom never made unilateral decisions about Christmas without discussing them extensively first. She's the type of person who starts planning Christmas dinner in October and calls everyone multiple times to confirm dietary restrictions and gift preferences. I called Mom directly from my office. Hey, I saw your message. What do you mean keeping it small? It's always just been us and maybe a couple other people. There was this weird pause. Normally, Mom would launch into a 15-minute explanation about anything Christmas-related, but she seemed distant. Oh, sweetie, we just want to keep things low-key this year. Quiet celebration. Nothing fancy. Is money tight? I can help out like always. I was planning to send some cash for groceries and decorations anyway. That big sale just went through, so I'm happy to cover whatever you need. No, nothing like that. We'll catch up after the holidays, okay? I have to go. Your father needs help with something. She hung up before I could ask more questions. That was really strange because Mom usually talks my ear off about Christmas plans starting in October. She'd typically spend 20 minutes telling me about menu ideas, decoration themes, gift suggestions for other family members, and asking me what I wanted for dinner. I immediately called Tony from my office. Something's weird with my family about Christmas. Weird how? They're keeping it small this year but won't explain what that means. And Mom cut the conversation short, which literally never happens. She usually keeps me on the phone for an hour talking about Christmas stuff. Tony was quiet for a moment, and I could hear him tapping his pen on his desk, like he does when he's thinking. When's the last time they included you in planning anything? Not paying for it? Actually planning it? I thought about it. I couldn't remember ever being asked for input on family gatherings. I just showed up, brought expensive gifts, and contributed money for food and decorations. Sometimes I'd offer suggestions, but they'd usually just say, "Don't worry about it, we've got it handled." "Listen," Tony said, "they're probably planning something and don't want you there for some reason. Keep your eyes open and don't send any money until you know what's going on. Something about this doesn't smell right." I figured he was being paranoid, but something in my gut said he might be right. Tony has good instincts about people. It's what makes him such a good salesman. 2 days later, I got another text from Jessica. "Hey, need help with car repairs again. Mechanic says $1,300 for transmission work. Can you help me out? I'm completely broke and can't get to work without my car. This is so stressful, I haven't slept in 2 days." I sent the money immediately, no questions asked, because that's what family does. But looking back, I should have asked why her car needed transmission work when she just had it repaired 2 months earlier for $900. 3 days after that, Dad texted, "Hey son, business equipment broke down right before the holidays. Need $800 for repairs to keep working through Christmas. Can you help out? We've got some big jobs lined up for January, but need the equipment working." Again, I transferred the money without hesitation. I didn't even think to ask what equipment had broken down or why it was so expensive to fix. Looking back now, I realize I was funding my own exclusion and didn't even know it. Every dollar I sent them was probably going toward planning the party I wouldn't be invited to. Christmas Eve, I'm sitting in my apartment trying to convince myself that spending the holidays alone was fine. I'd ordered some nice takeout from this Italian place I like, chicken parmigiana with a side of pasta, and had some good movies queued up on Netflix. I figured I'd make the best of a quiet evening, maybe catch up on some reading, possibly call a few friends who were also spending the holidays solo. Around 8 p.m., my phone buzzes with an Instagram notification. Jessica had posted a new story. I almost didn't check it because I was feeling pretty sorry for myself, but curiosity got the better of me. What I saw made my stomach drop to the floor and my hands start shaking. She was at my parents' house, but this wasn't some quiet, low-key celebration like Mom had described. The place looked like something out of a luxury magazine or a movie set. Professional decorations everywhere. Not the usual homemade stuff we'd always done, but actual professional-grade string lights that must have cost hundreds of dollars. Elaborate centerpieces. Cloth table linens instead of the usual plastic tablecloth. There were catering tables set up in the backyard with what looked like professional food service, complete with chafing dishes and cloth-covered tables. I could see a bartender in formal attire mixing cocktails behind an actual portable bar setup. This wasn't potluck Christmas dinner. This was a full-blown catered event. There had to be 50-plus people there, maybe more. I could see cars lined up down the entire block and people I didn't even recognize milling around the yard. But it got so much worse. The next story showed Jessica showing off a ring, holding her hand up to the camera with this massive diamond catching the light. "OMG, everyone, Tyler proposed. Look at this gorgeous ring he saved up for. He's been planning this for months. I can't believe this is happening." Tyler is her boyfriend of about 8 months. He works part-time at a vape shop in the mall and lives in his mom's basement. He drives a Honda Civic with a giant spoiler and a loud exhaust. This guy literally asked me for gas money just last month because he was between paychecks, and now he's buying engagement rings that look like they cost more than his car? Then came the final slap in the face. A group video of everyone toasting with actual champagne glasses, not plastic cups, real glassware. "Best Christmas ever with the people who really matter," Jessica squealed into the camera while showing off her ring to everyone around her. I could see everyone there. Extended family members I hadn't seen in years. Family friends. Neighbors from my parents' street. Even some of my old high school buddies that I'd introduced to my family over the years. People were dressed up like this was a wedding reception, not a casual family Christmas. The one person missing? Me. My phone rang immediately. "Tony, you see that nonsense on Instagram?" "Yeah." My voice came out kind of strangled. "That ring probably cost at least $3,000, maybe more. Where do you think a part-time vape shop worker got $3,000? And look at that party setup. That's not home decorations. That's professional event planning. Somebody spent serious money on this." I didn't need him to spell it out. Over the past 3 months, Jessica had asked me for money multiple times. Car repairs, medical bills, rent help. The amounts, $1,300, $750, $900, $450. Total, $3,400. Tyler had been borrowing money from Jessica, who had been borrowing money from me. She had literally crowdfunded her own engagement ring using my money, then excluded me from the celebration. Tony, I feel sick. Don't feel sick. Get mad. This is war now, and you've got the bigger weapons. But first, document everything. Screenshot all of this before she deletes it. I spent the next hour screenshotting every single social media post from the party. Jessica's stories, other people's posts, pictures of the decorations, the food, the ring, group shots of everyone having an amazing time. I stayed up until 3 a.m. scrolling through social media posts from the party. Every single person there had posted something. Pictures of the elaborate decorations, the catered food, the professional bartender, Jessica's ring, group shots of everyone having what looked like the time of their lives. One post really got to me. My cousin Derek posted a picture of himself with my parents, all of them raising champagne glasses, with the caption, "Nothing beats family Christmas traditions." So grateful for this amazing celebration and for family that knows how to do the holidays right. Family Christmas traditions. Like I'd never been part of them. Like I wasn't family. Another post from my aunt showed the dessert table. Professional-looking cakes and pastries that definitely didn't come from a grocery store. The caption read, "Linda and Mike really outdid themselves this year. This is what Christmas is all about." But the worst one was from my mom's Facebook. She'd posted a group photo of about 30 people all gathered around the Christmas tree, everyone smiling and holding drinks. The caption said, "Blessed to have such wonderful family and friends to celebrate with. Best Christmas ever. Grateful for our family. Christmas magic." I wasn't in the photo. I wasn't even mentioned. December 26th, 10:30 a.m. I'd barely slept and was still processing everything when my phone buzzes with a text from Dad. "Hey son, hope you had a good Christmas. Can you help us out with January mortgage? We need $4,100 by the 30th. Thanks." I stared at that message for a full 5 minutes. The audacity was absolutely breathtaking. The sheer nerve of these people was beyond anything I could have imagined. They excluded me from Christmas, used my money to fund their elaborate party and Jessica's engagement ring, documented the whole thing on social media to make sure I'd see exactly what I was missing, and now they wanted more money? Like nothing had happened? Like I was just their personal ATM with no feelings or memory? I screenshot the message and sent it to Tony immediately, along with a message. "You're not going to believe this." His response was immediate. "Are you kidding me right now? They have some serious nerve. This is sociopathic behavior." I called him. "They just asked for mortgage money." "How much?" $4,100. Tony was quiet for exactly 3 seconds, then started laughing, but not in a funny way. More like the kind of laugh you make when something is so outrageous, it's almost unbelievable. These people have nerves of steel. They really think you're that clueless. They think you're going to just keep paying them forever, no matter how they treat you. "I can't believe this is happening. I can't believe they think I'm this stupid." Believe it. Your sister probably spent so much on that party that they're broke now. Plus, she's got a wedding to plan, which means more requests for money coming your way. And they figured you'd just pay up like always because you're their reliable ATM who never asks questions. He was absolutely right. I had been their reliable ATM for years, and they'd gotten so comfortable with it that they thought they could treat me like garbage, and I'd still keep funding their lifestyle. What should I do? Oh, I've got ideas. But first, tell me something. How much money have you given them total over the years? Not just this year, but everything. I'd actually been tracking it in a spreadsheet for tax purposes because some of the larger amounts qualified as gifts. Over the last 6 years, it's around $73,000. $73,000? Are you serious right now? You could have bought a house down payment with that money. You could have bought a luxury car. You could have taken amazing vacations all over the world. Hearing the number out loud made it sound even worse. That was more than most people make in an entire year, and I'd just given it away to people who clearly didn't respect me. "Here's what really gets me," Tony continued, and I could hear him getting angry on my behalf. "They didn't just exclude you. They planned an elaborate party, invited everyone you know, hired professional services, bought expensive rings, and documented the whole thing on social media to make sure you'd see exactly what you were missing. This wasn't an oversight or a miscommunication. This was deliberate psychological warfare. Why would they do that? What did I ever do to deserve this? Because they wanted to hurt you. This wasn't about wanting a small celebration. This was about putting you in your place, showing you that you're good enough to fund their lifestyle, but not good enough to actually be included in their family. They wanted you to know that they see you as a resource, not a person. The more Tony talked, the angrier I got. Not just sad or hurt, but genuinely furious. All right, here's what we're going to do. But first, you need to understand something. Back in Chicago, my cousin tried to pull something similar with my grandmother after my grandfather died. She thought she could manipulate the old lady into giving her money while treating her like garbage. You know what happened? What? My grandmother cut her off completely and left everything to charity in her will. My cousin learned real quick that you don't mess with family money when you're not acting like family. I'm about to teach your family that same lesson, but we're going to do it right. This is going to be surgical. Tony wasn't just good at sales. Turns out he's also really good at research when he's motivated. While I was feeling sorry for myself over the holidays, he'd been doing what he called reconnaissance on my family's situation. I spent my time off doing homework on your family. You want to hear what I found? Because it's worse than you think. We were at our usual coffee shop near the office the day after Christmas. I was drinking my third cup of coffee and still feeling like I'd been hit by a truck emotionally. Your parents' landscaping business? They filed some paperwork 3 weeks ago, changed some ownership details. Want to guess what they did? I have no idea, though I was starting to get a bad feeling. They transferred majority ownership to Jessica, your sister, who's never touched a lawnmower in her life and wouldn't know a hedge trimmer from a chainsaw, is now listed as the primary owner of their business. I nearly choked on my coffee. What? Why would they do that? Tony gave me this look like I was missing something obvious. Think about it. If the business is in her name, they can claim poverty when you look at their finances. Poor, struggling landscaping business, barely making ends meet. Please help us, Jake. But Jessica now owns a business that's been operating for 15 years with established clients, equipment, and reputation. It was starting to click, and I didn't like where this was going. So when I've been helping with their mortgage, you've been building equity and property they're probably planning to transfer to Jessica too. They've been playing chess while you've been playing checkers. This has been a long-term plan to transfer their assets to her while keeping you as their financial backup. I felt nauseous. How did you find this out? Business filings are public record if you know where to look. Took me about 20 minutes of searching. But here's the really good part. Want to know how much that engagement ring actually cost? How could you possibly know that? Tony showed me his phone with a screenshot from Tyler's social media. Tyler posted about it on his Instagram story. Tagged the jewelry store and everything. Bragging about how he saved up for months. I called the store yesterday. Said I was looking at the same ring for my girlfriend. Guess the price? Just tell me. $4,600. Plus tax makes it about $5,000 total. But the exact amount Jessica had borrowed from me over the past 3 months, down to the 100. The car repairs that never happened, the medical bills that were fake, the rent emergencies that were lies. There's more. I looked into Tyler's background too. This guy has outstanding warrants for unpaid child support. He owes his ex over $7,000 and hasn't made a payment in 8 months. His wages are supposed to be garnished, but he works under the table half the time to avoid it. I was getting angry now. Really, truly angry. What else did you find? Your parents took out a second mortgage on their house 4 months ago. Guess how much they pulled out? I'm afraid to ask. $60,000. They've been crying poor to you while sitting on $60,000 in cash. And get this, the paperwork shows the loan was for business expansion. But according to their business filings, their revenue hasn't increased at all. If anything, it's gone down. Tony leaned back in his chair and looked at me seriously. They didn't exclude you from Christmas because of space or wanting quiet time. They excluded you because they're planning to screw you over big time, and they didn't want you around to see the evidence of how they're really living. But why? I've always helped them. I've never asked for anything back. I've never made them feel bad about needing help. That's exactly why. You've trained them to see you as a resource, not a person. They know you'll always bail them out, so they don't need to treat you with respect. They can use you for money and exclude you from family events because they know you'll still be there next time they need cash. Tony pulled out his phone and showed me more screenshots. Look at this. Your mom posted on Facebook about their wonderful Christmas celebration and how blessed they are. Your dad posted pictures of all the expensive equipment he's been buying for the business. Equipment you probably paid for without knowing it. And Jessica? She's been posting about her successful year and her bright future while working part-time retail. That's when everything became crystal clear. They weren't just using me for money anymore. They were actively stealing from me while planning to cut me out entirely once they didn't need me anymore. So what do we do about it? Tony smiled. And it wasn't a friendly smile. It was the kind of smile he gets when he's about to close a really difficult deal. We're going to teach them why you don't bite the hand that feeds you. But we're going to do it smart. and we're going to do it completely legal. By the time we're done, they're going to wish they'd just invited you to Christmas. Over the next week, Tony and I developed what he called Operation Reality Check. The plan was brilliant in its simplicity and absolutely devastating in its potential execution. First, I went through my banking records and documented every single payment I'd made to them over 6 years. Every Venmo, every Zelle transfer, every check, every PayPal payment, every wire transfer. I organized it all in a detailed spreadsheet with dates, amounts, what they claimed the money was for, and what it was actually used for based on their social media posts and my own observations. This took me 3 full days because there were so many transactions. I had to go through 6 years of bank statements, payment app histories, and even old text messages to get the complete picture. The final total was $73,847, almost $74,000. Then Tony helped me research the legal definitions of fraud and theft by deception in our state. Turns out that repeatedly lying about what you need money for can constitute criminal fraud, especially when there's a pattern of deception and the amounts are substantial. We're not going to sue them, Tony explained, while we sat in his apartment planning this out. We're going to do something better. We're going to make them face public consequences for their actions. People like this only understand embarrassment and social pressure. Here's what we did. Step 1. I canceled every recurring payment I had set up for them. Their mortgage contribution, $200 monthly. Jessica's car insurance, $180 monthly. Dad's phone plan, $95 monthly. Mom's credit card minimum payment that I'd been covering, $150 monthly, and a few other smaller subscriptions I'd been paying for them. Everything. Gone overnight. Step 2. I created a detailed document outlining every lie they'd told me about money, with screenshots of their social media posts proving they were lying. Every emergency that turned out to be luxury purchases, every struggle that coincided with expensive vacations they posted about, every time they claimed poverty while showing off new purchases online. Step 3. Tony helped me create a simple website laying out the timeline of their deception. We called it The Truth About Financial Abuse and made it look professional and factual, not emotional or vindictive. We included everything: the business ownership transfer, the second mortgage, the engagement ring fraud, the Christmas party exclusion, copies of text messages, bank records with account numbers redacted, social media screenshots, the whole timeline. Step 4. The masterpiece. Jessica had always wanted to be famous, right? Well, Tony's girlfriend works for a local news station, and they were doing a January segment on successful local families and their holiday traditions as part of their New Year, New Beginnings series. We pitched them a story about Jessica's entrepreneurial success and her close-knit family that supports each other through business ventures. We told them about how she'd recently taken over the family business and gotten engaged, painting a picture of this wholesome success story. Jessica's ego couldn't resist the chance to be on TV talking about her business ownership and family values. When the news station called her, she practically screamed with excitement and immediately started planning her outfit and talking points. The interview was scheduled for January 8th. Jessica spent 2 weeks preparing, buying new outfits, getting her hair done professionally, practicing her talking points about family values and business success and entrepreneurial spirit, and how important it is to have a support system. She had absolutely no idea what was coming. Tony and I spent those 2 weeks making sure our website was perfect, gathering more evidence, and preparing for the aftermath. We also made sure to send anonymous tips to Tyler's ex-girlfriend about his engagement and how he'd been able to afford the ring despite owing thousands in child support. The TV interview aired Tuesday morning at 11 a.m. Jessica looked polished and proud, gushing about her family business and close-knit family in professional makeup and an outfit that cost more than most people's monthly clothing budget. She went on about family values, supporting each other through thick and thin, and having people you can count on. When asked about business success, she talked about taking over the family legacy and building something meaningful with loved ones. "I'm so blessed to have a family that believes in me," Jessica beamed. "My brother especially has been so supportive of my entrepreneurial journey. He's always there when we need him. Family is everything to us, and we stick together no matter what." Discussing her recent engagement, she gushed about Tyler's responsibility with money, how he'd been saving for months for her ring, and how he understood the value of working hard and saving for things that matter. Those quotes were about to haunt her forever. By 11:30 a.m., Tony and I had shared our website link in the comments with a simple message. Here's the real story about this family's success and values. The response was immediate and overwhelming. Within 2 hours, thousands viewed our documented evidence of systematic family deception, a stark contrast to Jessica's morning interview about family support. The real fireworks started when Tyler's ex-girlfriend found the story. She'd been tracking him down for months over unpaid child support. Her viral social media post included photos of Tyler's expensive engagement ring posts, screenshots of unpaid child support notices, and explanations of how he dodged responsibilities while living beyond his means. My phone buzzed around 2 p.m. with calls from everyone who'd attended that Christmas party I'd been excluded from. Seeing the financial records laid out clearly made people realize how badly I'd been manipulated. My cousin Derek called directly. "Jake, I had no idea. Jessica told everyone you were too busy with work for Christmas, that you'd sent money but couldn't make it due to business commitments, and specifically asked them to celebrate without you." Neighbors and friends started commenting online about wondering how Jessica afforded her lifestyle without steady employment, and how my parents seemed to have party money while constantly complaining about struggling. The local news picked up the story again for evening broadcast, focusing on financial elder abuse and family manipulation, using Jessica's morning interview as an example of how financial predators present themselves as victims. By evening, all three were at my apartment building. I watched them argue in the parking lot for 20 minutes before coming upstairs. Mom was crying, Dad looked furious, and Jessica appeared completely destroyed. "Jake, we need to talk," Mom said shakily. "About what exactly?" Jessica pushed forward, voice high and panicked. "You need to take that website down right now. It's ruining my reputation. Strangers are calling me a thief." Tony sat on my couch with chips, watching like premium entertainment. "Your reputation? Jessica, you stole nearly $5,000 from me for your engagement ring, then lied about it on television this morning." "It wasn't stealing. You gave me that money. You said it was for car repairs and medical emergencies." Dad's voice was tight with anger. "Son, family business should stay private. You're embarrassing all of us." Tony stood up. "Oh, now it's private. Where was that energy when y'all excluded him from Christmas and put it all over Instagram?" The epic hour-long argument followed. Jessica screamed about my jealousy and how I was trying to ruin her life. Dad demanded I be a man and handle this privately. Mom cried about destroyed community reputation. Tyler attempted damage control. "Maybe Jessica could pay you back over time." I started laughing. "Tyler, you're $7,000 behind on child support and bought an engagement ring with my money. Jessica hasn't had steady work in years. Dad transferred his business to hide assets. Mom helped plan Christmas specifically to exclude me while taking my money. What exactly are we working out?" Mom completely broke down. "We'll do anything, Jake. Anything. Please take down that website. The only terrible things about you online are documented facts." Jessica tried final manipulation. "If you really loved your family, you'd protect us from this embarrassment." Tony handed her tissues. "If y'all really loved family, you wouldn't have stolen from him for years, then excluded him from Christmas." They cycled through every manipulation technique: guilt trips, anger, bargaining, threats, fake apologies, and desperate begging. I gave them 48 hours. Transfer business ownership back to Dad, post public apology acknowledging their actions, provide written repayment plan, or I'd file police reports for theft and fraud. They left panicked, finally understanding actions have consequences. The next morning, Jessica posted a 4-minute Instagram confession video admitting everything. Lying about money needs, using my funds for her engagement ring, excluding me from Christmas after taking my support, and years of taking advantage. She announced stepping back from social media for personal accountability and growth, and seeking therapy. Dad transferred business ownership back and delivered a $15,000 check as partial repayment with written apology and payment plan. Tyler broke up with Jessica that day and moved back to his mother's house 2 states away. Apparently, his mother saw the news story and threatened to kick him out unless he started handling child support responsibilities. Sometimes the best revenge really is just letting people see the truth.